Hello everyone, it's Davide here and welcome back to Learning Finance. So it's now the time to buy the stocks, airline stocks. Well, that's the question that everyone is asking, and that's the week of airline stocks because they released earnings. Yesterday we had Southwest, and tomorrow before the market open we have American Airlines. Okay, so we are gonna talk about that. Leave me a like if you like this video, and let's begin. So, guys, airline stocks. It's useless to say what we all already know. Okay, lockdown, disease, no one wants to fly right now, and even if you want, sometimes you cannot. And so guess what? They are not earning anything. Okay, revenues is down almost to zero. It's down 80, 85, 90%, and that's crazy. Okay, but everyone knows that. Everyone knows that right now. And so the last week, actually, I was thinking about that. Okay, and I was looking at graphs sometimes, even if I like long-term investing, but I think the graphs are important to just understand the price movements, okay, the price action, just to understand what happened. And I was there and I was saying, well, we were here and no one knows what was going on. Okay, this is American Airlines. And after that, boom, look at that. We have what we all know. Okay, this kind of lockdown, illness, blah blah blah. The world is locked down. Everything is stopped. Everything is shut down, and that's the result of bad news. Okay, boom. We have a huge drop from around 30 to we had a low of 9, so below 10 in American Airlines. Okay, but it's the same. It's the same. I can show you Delta, and it's the same. Okay, absolutely the same. So I said, well, this was the surprise, and this was the result in the stock market price. Okay, so and I was thinking myself, well, you know what we know right now? What do we know right now? Because everyone knows that. Okay, now the stock market, you have to keep in mind that the stock market is pricing everything it knows. Okay, and everyone nowadays has access to the stock market through internet, through those kind of things. It's pretty efficient. Okay, so this was the reaction to all that problem. After that, the main question is this. Okay, that's the main question. We all know that problem. The real question right now is not that problem anymore. The real question is for how long those companies they're going to be able to survive in this kind of scenario. Because basically, if you are not flying, you don't have revenues, so you need cash to survive. That's the thing. The real problem now is bankruptcy. Okay, it's the risk to go bankrupt, and that's the main problem right now. And everyone knows this kind of problem. We all know that. I mean, there is no one that doesn't know that there is a risk of bankruptcy. Okay, and what we already know, that the U.S. government has said. This is from the New York Times around 10 days ago. The U.S. government has said, well, we are not going to let those guys down, especially the big one. Okay, here you have the top 10 domestic carriers in U.S. And from those top 10, more than 50% of the market is by those three guys. Southwest Airlines, earnings yesterday, Delta Airlines, and American Airlines. And the US government is saying, well, we are not letting those guys down. Why? It's pretty simple. First of all, those companies together, they have more than 100,000 employees, and they have a huge business in all the three put together. Second of all, well, if you let those guys down, you are actually stopping basically you're not gonna have more than half of the companies to fly in US, and that's a huge problem. Okay, if you want to move when these things is gonna go away, when this illness is gonna go away, how can you fly if you don't have more than half of the companies? And most of all, those kind of companies, they have a lot of debt. Okay, so if you let them go under, who's gonna take the hit of that debt? Okay, and so considering the fact that also the Fed is like doing the unthinkable right now by trying to do whatever they can, I pretty trust them. Okay, I believe when they are saying me that we are not gonna let those guys down. And so again, last week I was asking myself, what can we expect from the next week? I mean, because everything that is bad, we already know. Okay, so how can it be worse than that? Okay, how can it be worse than that? Right now, in my opinion, it's impossible. Okay, and in fact, that's what I did last week. Now you're gonna see the screenshot. Boom. I bought American Airlines around 10 and 20. So $10.20 around. Now this is my broker. It's in Italian, but when you see acquisto, it means buy. Okay. Anyway, so that's what I did, and I said, well, you know what? Next week we are gonna have earnings, and they cannot. I mean, they cannot say something that it's worse than what we already know today. So what we had, this is yesterday. That's what we had. Southwest Airlines that released earnings. They released earnings. It's the first time that those guys they have a loss since 2011, and they say, oh, we are cutting costs. We are trying to all those kind of things that we already know. Important stuff. They did. They issued new shares, 5 million of shares, and the market took those shares. That means that there is interest in the market in those kind of stocks. They are quite optimistic in the industry. Okay, and they also said that's what's crazy, guys. They also said they issued the earnings for Q1, and they anticipated that May is gonna be probably the worst month ever in their history, okay, with the revenue falling off up until 95%. So that's the worst thing you can read in an earnings release, and that's also an anticipation of what's next. Well, and guess what the market has done yesterday after this super bad news? The market yesterday went up. Boom. 12% American Airlines. This is for earnings of Southwest. The entire sector went up huge yesterday. Okay, went up huge. We can see also Delta, boom, 10% yesterday. So that's guys what I was exactly thinking the last week when I bought the stocks. Okay, I said, well, what can those guys say to that is gonna be worse than how it already is right now? Okay, the market knows all those kind of bad stuff. They know them for sure. They know them for sure. Okay, that's why this has happened. So what can you say more? What can you say more than this? What can you say more than this? Okay, I think that right now you cannot say anything. So bad news, market is going up. Why? That's the magic of the stock market. Okay, remember when everyone knows that things are bad, everyone knows that there is risk of getting busted, when everyone knows that, whoa, wow, I mean, that's the worst time ever. I mean, we already know that. We already know that. What's the probability to go higher? And what's the probability to go even lower than the super bad worst case scenario ever? And so that's what I was thinking about. That's why I bought the stocks the last week, because I was waiting. I was thinking that, well, you know what, the next week, so this week, we are here right now, it's not gonna be worse than what we already know. So that's why I did that. And honestly, I mean, that has been a risky purchase, because American Airlines, as we know, has the worst balance sheet ever in the history of airlines. They went through the crisis with almost 4 billions in cash. With probably right now they are like zero. But they took already a grant from the U.S. government, which was like 80% grant, so that you don't have to give it back, and 20% was a loan. Okay, but and I think, I mean, that's the riskiest stock, without no doubt, and as it is the riskiest one, it has also the biggest potential from an upside gains, and okay, upside profit, because if they are able to make it through, here we are gonna make about around 10, 20, and we are gonna make probably, even if they just be back where they was 3 months ago, it's almost you are almost, yeah, more than doubling your money, okay, from 10 to around 27, $28 per share. So I'm not saying that this is gonna happen tomorrow. I'm gonna say that, well, for the long run, in my portfolio, I like to have this stocks, okay. I usually don't like to invest in too risky one. That's probably the riskiest stock I own right now. But you know what? For a little part of the portfolio, I think it's fine to risk a little bit more. If potential profit is high, I think, yeah, why not? Now, of course, you're not putting 100%. It's just a small part, a small percentage of the portfolio. But yeah, I mean, I, I like that. I like that, honestly. And I also own. I'm gonna be honest. I also own some shares of Delta Airlines, which I bought them back in March, around screenshot, yeah, $26.49 per share. I bought probably a little bit too early, but this company, in comparison with American Airlines, is best in terms of balance sheet. And with Southwest Airlines, they are the two best airlines companies in terms of debt, in terms of balance sheet itself, in terms of risk. Okay, so when it was around near $25 per share, I liked the stock very much and I bought some. But right now, I wanted to add some airlines part in my portfolio, and that's why I bought American Airlines. You know, it's like this is a most safe one, and American Airlines is a risky part of portfolio, and I like to have a small part which is riskier in my portfolio. And so that's what I did. I have around 10% of airlines in my portfolio. If you put Delta shares and American Airlines shares together, they add up to be around 10% in my portfolio. So that's what I did, and that's why I'm explaining you that. So let's see how earnings are going tomorrow. I honestly think that the market is going to continue to pump up in those days, because as I explained you, was already pricing the worst case scenario ever. And I think that right now, in this particular moment, we cannot go bad, we cannot be worse than what we already know. Okay, so that's the end of the video, guys. Leave me a like if you like the video, and subscribe to my channel. Let me know down in the comment section what you have done. Let me know if you own something. Let me know if you like airline stocks. And see you soon, guys. Have a wonderful day. Bye.